morning. Thanks for joining us on AccuWeather Early. I'm Melissa Constanzer.
And I'm Ariella. Scalese. Monday, June 3rd. This week's probably going to feel very long, as a lot of people had Monday off for Memorial Day last week, a short week, and now heading into the long weeks of summer here.
Yep, it does seem like long weeks. And for those of you that already have your kids at home, you know what we're talking about.
They're like, dealing with the school start.
Exactly. Countdown is on. But we start off, though, with what is kind of almost a spring. We often think of spring kind of weather, which is severe weather, although it occurs at all times of the year. Across the plains, we're looking at some of these very strong thunderstorms moving out of Kansas into Oklahoma at this point.
Yeah, my eye catches just this kind of blob of moisture that we're tracking throughout the northwest, a really rainy, kind of cooler pattern. Southwest, though, things will be warming up.
Yeah, that northwestern storm will be our next troublemaker into tomorrow across some of the plains. But until that's another risk for severe thunderstorms, but you're tracking some storms right now. Yeah, already talking about an active start to the day in Minnesota, Wisconsin. If you're in Hayward, Wisconsin, heavy rainfall to begin the morning hours. So this is going to be something that might have some impacts on how you start your day, whether you're off to work, possibly still off to school, or you know, maybe you're trying to get out and about on the lakes there. It's going to change how you do your morning. You can see most of the rainfall has been farther north. We've had a stray thunderstorm or two across Iowa, but the activity again holding on here west with this rain focus. It's actually coming from the northwest as we speak. A late season storm system bringing all that heavy rain, kind of a chillier pattern too, by the way, in much of the northwest. And this is all going to slide its way east with that energy. So it's windy out ahead of it, and we have those thunderstorms possible in places like Fargo. By the way, the Red River is still up on some of those flood levels, especially as you get north towards Oslo, Grand Forks. We're still having some challenges with that. So more thunderstorms may not, because the core of the storm system is actually in Canada. So there will be some extra energy up there, but it won't be quite the same layout as some of the severe weather off towards the south. So as we move through time, you can see how that band, at least across the upper Midwest, breaks apart, but there's a new line that does regenerate here, and we are expecting that to be a problem for the drive home in places like Chicago. As that breaks apart, though, into Tuesday morning, our attention turns to that next storm system that's going to bring those thunderstorms across the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and even south then into places like Iowa, Missouri. That's where our severe weather threat is as we go through tomorrow, and it does include some isolated tornadoes. Then into Wednesday morning, this is our wet setup here. A few thunderstorms will ignite for the afternoon with damaging wind potential and, of course, some heavy rain. Heavy rain is really what this storm system will be as it translates farther east. So you'll want to be ready for a soaking time. But beyond it then, the cool air moves in. And if you like cool, comfortable, especially across the northwest, we've got some minor delays in places like Seattle. Certainly going to deal with some of those showers, thunderstorms possible. We've got the morning delays there in Minneapolis. It'll get better as we move through time. Back to AccuWeather Early, and thank you for watching us on this Monday morning. We are still talking about severe weather despite it being June.
Right, and we're kind of coming out of the historical peak of severe weather season, but this is a tricky time of year because severe weather and hurricane season begin to overlap, so keeping meteorologists busy and keeping anyone from the plains to the coast also on alert.
Yeah, and so we'll be keeping an eye on a couple different things like the tropics. We'll talk about that throughout the morning later on. But going watch right now for severe thunderstorms. A watch means the ingredients are there for severe weather to happen. We're already seeing the proof of that right now with the warnings and the damaging winds. So notice how the watch goes farther to the south and east here, which means it is expected that this line holds this already very saturated soil. So flash flooding does continue to be a threat with the additional thunderstorms that we are tracking for today. You notice the flooding downpours, also some large hail and some of those damaging wind gusts right now, dealing again with these severe thunderstorm warnings, destructive severe thunderstorm warnings with winds upwards of 80 miles per hour, and we'll even have to watch for an isolated spin up here. We do expect that line to continue to move into eastern Oklahoma and throughout Arkansas later on today, so these storms should be pretty long-lived and may even refire some storms here throughout the afternoon. So really focusing in on parts of the south central, but notice that our sun risk does stretch up into southern Wisconsin and throughout Illinois, including Chicago and Peoria for some stronger thunderstorms as we head later on today. I showed you that close-up view on radar. Here's kind of the big picture here. We're watching a couple areas here of some stronger thunderstorms. Again, this is the cluster that is warned with the damaging wind and the isolated tornado threat. And